Hey guys, what's good? And welcome to the top 10 Cartoon Network shows that defined the 2000s. Now, this list isn't any in particular order. Just some cartoons I highly remember back in the day, like Dexter's Lab or Johnny Bravo, and of course, there's gonna be some honorable mentions. So, yeah, we're just gonna talk about the shows, talk about it for a few minutes, and then move on to the next. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the video and shit, let's just get started. Alright, first one off the chopping block, my gym partner is a monkey. Now this show is very underrated. It is fucking hilarious. I've always had a good time watching this show as a kid, growing up or whatever. And the synopsis is, it's this kid named Alex Lion, and because his last name is Lion, he gets sent to a school full of animals, because of course, that just makes sense, obviously. So the show is just basically about a regular kid being in a school full of fucking animals. And if I were you, I would check it out. It is hilarious. Doesn't really hold up today, but it has a lot of charm, so go check that out. Camp Lazlo. Now, I have a lot of good memories watching this show during the summertime. In my opinion, it's kind of like an earlier version of Phineas and Ferb. So the show it's a summer camp that lasts all throughout the year, and of course the show is about these three characters going through kooky adventures in this summer camp. And to be honest, it still holds up today. It has a lot of comedy, it has a lot to it. It's great to watch. If you grew up watching this show, check it out again, man. This show has a lot to hold up to. Robot Boy. Now, this is another highly underrated cartoon. So the synopsis is, a scientist creates this little robot, and of course, he gives it to a kid. That makes sense. In reality, you make a robot, you give it to a little kid, that also adds up. But the show is about this kid and this robot going through a lot of adventures. Obviously, big shit happens. The robot defeats the enemy. It's a basic show, but it has a lot of charm and a lot of things that still hold up today. So, Puffy Yumi. Now, this show doesn't really hold up, but it's still good. It has that 2000s taste to it. Now, this show is basically a giant advertisement for a real band called Puffy Yumi. I personally never heard of them, but yeah, this show is just kind of like a giant ad. And the show only has a few episodes, but it's decent, I guess. I wouldn't really recommend checking it out, but if you grew up with it, why not? Billy and Mandy. Now, I love this show to this day. The basic plot is the Grim Reaper comes up from hell and plays a game with these two kids called Billy and Mandy. Obviously, the kids win, and the bet was the Grim Reaper now to be their best friend. And I absolutely fucking adore this show. I still watch it to this day. It has a lot of hilarious scenes that still hold up. And yeah, I would highly suggest you watch this show. But I guess onto the top 5 now. It's getting serious now. Teen Titans, another great classic. Now, this show is kind of watered down now because of the reboot. It's bad. Yeah, I know it's bad, but the show is still watchable. It has a great plot line, and most of the episodes are on YouTube, so it's really easy to watch. But it's basically like this. It's a group of teen superheroes defeating villains, beating up bad guys, and of course there's one overarching bad guy throughout the whole series, and we never get that conclusion because the series got canceled because of a lack of views. But this show's still dope to watch. It has a little bit of comedy, a little bit of drama, a little bit of romance. This show has a bit of everything. So I would highly suggest you search up old Teen Titans full episodes on YouTube. You could basically watch the whole series. But that's Teen Titans. So sticking with superheroes, here's Powerpuff Girls, man. A lot of people back in the day basically thought this was like a girl show or stuff like that, but let's just be honest. Everybody watched this show back in the day, boys and girls. Like, everybody everybody watched the show back in the day. I mean, sure, a lot of men nowadays keep it a secret, but fuck it, everybody watched it. Now, the basic plot is there's these three girls that have superpowers, and they just defeat various enemies like Mojo Jojo or the Green Gang, and there's also side characters like the mayor or the assistant. There's lots to go into with this show, and to be honest, I still like it to this day. Ed, Edd n Eddy. Now, this is a great show still to this day. But when I first saw this, I thought I was on LSD or something. This show is fucking insane when it comes to animations, the sounds. This show is just overall just a meme, I guess. The plot is, it's a bunch of kids living on a cul-de-sac, and there's these three guys, Ed, Edd n Eddy, trying to make 25 cents to get a jawbreaker. Now, a jawbreaker in this cartoon is just this big, giant, piece of candy. And the goal is to make 25 cents, and they make 25 cents by doing a bunch of scams, fortune telling or scan readings, This show's overall hilarious. My description doesn't really do it justice, but I would go check it out for yourself. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Now, you can obviously tell what the show is because, the title's right there. Now, the plot is it's hundreds, thousands of imaginary friends going through kooky adventures in this one giant house. And of course, our main character is Mac and Blue. They're obviously the leaders of this chaos, you could say. But overall, I love this show. Have a lot of great memories with this show. Go check it out, I guess. That's really all I could say, because my description isn't really going to do the show justice as well. Now, before we get to number one, here's a few honorable mentions that I would like to, mention or get through, I guess. These are underrated cartoons that nobody remembers at all. So, yeah, let's just get started. Now, how can I mention Cartoon Network in the 2000s without mentioning Toonami? Now, come on. Toonami was basically an anime block, so right after school, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, Toonami would come on and it would show a basic anime like Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, and it would show till 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. Now, Toonami was more or less the adult side of Cartoon Network besides Adult Swim, and Toonami would show blocks up to, I think, 12 o'clock midnight. Now, this is kind of embarrassing, but I honestly don't have good memories with Toonami. When it came on as a kid, it creeped the shit out of me, but I guess, I was a kid back then, so what are you gonna expect? Either way, Toonami, great, I guess, segment, because it's not really a show, but they showed it on Adult Swim today, so yeah, it's available. Hector Concarnate. I'm sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but this is basically a spin-off of Billy and Mandy before Billy and Mandy was a thing. So before Billy and Mandy, came out, this is what Cartoon Network would show, and it's basically the same animation, the same style. So yeah. Now the basic plot is there's a brain inside of a bear that runs an evil company. I know it sounds weird by saying it. My description does not give the show justice. I highly suggest you check it out. But yeah, it's a very, very weird show. You can tell it's Billy and Mandy, but not really. Either way, go check it out. Ben 10. Now, the reason this is on the honorable mentions list is because the show has been really watered down because of all the remakes and the reboots. And me personally, I prefer the original Ben 10. I love this show. I had a lot of great memories watching it. But yeah, man, the show's been really, really watered down. Class of 3000. Now, this cartoon doesn't really hold up, and it's in honorable mentions because obviously it got canceled because of a lack of views. Now, this is basically a cartoon with Andre 3000 in it, and he runs a class that goes on an adventure. That sounds very similar to a cartoon I know. I wonder what it is. Either way, this show doesn't really hold up, but if you're a fan of Andre 3000, check it out, I guess. But I wouldn't. This show is very very simple, very basic, and it's not for me. And here's the last of the honorable mentions. Who remembers Robot Jones? You know, who does remember Robot Jones? I mean, I remember watching as a kid. I just don't know too much about it, and it seems like an old show that aired in like the 80s or the 90s or something. But personally, I remember watching this show. I just don't know what it's about. Either way, it's a good show, I guess. But yeah. And number one, last but certainly not least, it might be or will be. I don't quite know because I'm still editing and I haven't decided what's going to be number one, but it is Dexters Lab. I have a lot of great memories with this show, watching it back in the day, but the plot is it's the show with the kid with an underground laboratory that does basic science shit, you know, gets into wacky adventures. But yeah, man, Dexter's Lab. How could I not mention this in 2000's Cartoon Network? But yeah, if you're watching, I'm glad you made it this far. Glad you made it to number one. And yeah, man, you're a fucking champ for that. I'm out of here.